We are talking about putting some sort of stiffening web or rib through the width of this shape through the context of the assembly, rapidly, quickly, and fun. So I've got a thing in my assembly. I have an empty part here which has nothing in it yet. I'm going to go into edit component mode on that. And I've dropped this part at the origin. You may have made it up differently. How about on my front plane I start a sketch, I view normal, and I'm going to smear out a line. And I'll thin feature extrude this from the midplane, much more than I need it. And I'll give it some thickness of more than it needs to be. And confirm this. So at the moment it's just passing through the other part in space. Now we can do a, how about a insert feature cavity. So we're still editing this plate in the context of the assembly, and we're going to cavity off this part. It says, hey, which piece are we keeping? Cavity is basically a Boolean subtraction. It's subtracting some other component or components in the assembly from the component that we're actively editing. So we hit OK on that to keep all bodies. And we'll leave edit component mode and we'll just open up this piece. And we see the piece now has two separate bodies in it. There's the bit we want, the bit we don't want. You go into the solid bodies folder, you find the bit you don't want, and you smack the delete key to create a delete body feature. It can be also found under insert feature delete body. So there we have a piece that fits nicely inside of our tube. Now it does replicate the geometry. It's we'll say coped. It's face-to-face matched to what we've put it in. It's not laser compatible. It's not a normal cut geometry. Now if it were done differently, it could be made so. In fact, let's see an even more extreme scenario where we might want to make a normal cut type shape. Hide those away, and here I have a shape that is quite shapely. Here I have a plate overlapping that shape, and I'll set the shape transparent so we can see that that plate is presently more longer than it should be. So we wish to delong that. Now another way to subtract one part from another part is another command called insert dent. Excuse me, indent. Insert feature indent using the cut option. It's basically the exact same thing as the cavity command. It's located under insert. Let me get into in context mode on this component. It's located under insert feature indent. Now it's meant to be like a displacement tool or a forming tool, but with the cut option it's a Boolean subtraction. So the target body, the thing getting the dented, is our block. The tool body, the thing doing the denting, is that thing. And with that cut option, it just cut away all the intersecting material. Now, let's go take a look at this part. This part is quite the not laser compatible. Let's say our intention is to get normal wall cuts through this. Nifty little trick we could do is delete a face and thicken it. Or let me say offset one of the faces and thicken it. So I could pick this face, offset it by 0, which is a way of copying that face. And I could hide the solid, pick that, and thicken it. Insert base thicken. It's kind of the opposite of shell. Now that's now a normal wall, but the problem is we've gone into interference in some areas. This is not a clean fit. Nifty trick you can do is do what we just did twice. So I'm going to hide that and re-show my original piece. Modify my offset feature to also offset the bottom. Delete that thicken. Hide that solid. We see we have two surface bodies floating in space. If I do a thicken on each, thicken that guy upward, and thicken this guy downward without merging them, we get these two solids overlapping one another in space. We can get the common material using the Boolean tool. Boolean, or combine as SolidWorks calls it, addition, subtraction, or common. I want the common material between both of those. And that's that. That's where the material overlaps. If we look at this in the assembly now, we see that on these edges, we are nicely fitting up against that edge. And back there, it looks like there's a big tunnel. But we come around to the other side, and we see that it is matching up nicely to that bump. And the line on the inside here is following along that transition. So it may not be exactly watertight, but it's pretty darn close to watertight with laser compatible or normal cuts. Pretty neat little trick. Hope that was fun. Take care. Tim out.